Good evening, class. So today we're going to have a brief discussion on project procurement management. So today we're diving into the crucial aspect of project management, which is project procurement management. Think of it as the process of getting things your project needs from outside your own organization. This could be anything from raw materials for a construction project to specialized software for an IT project or even consulting services. It's also important to remember that in these arrangements, your organization might be the one buying or might be the one selling its products or services. We'll focus on the buyer's perspective today. Project procurement management isn't just one big step. It's a series of processes that guide us from the very beginning to the very end of acquiring what our project needs from external sources. These four processes are essential. First, we plan procurement management, where we figure out what we need and how we'll get it. Then, we conduct procurements, which is where the actual buying and contracting happens. After that, we control procurements to make sure everything is going according to the agreement. Finally, we close procurements, making the official end of that specific acquisition. Let's start with the first step, land procurement management. This is where we lay the groundwork. It's all about making crucial decisions like, do we really need to buy this from the outside? If yes, what exactly do we need to buy? How will we go about buying it? What kind of contract? How much it will cost? And when do we need it by? The output here is a roadmap for procurement, which is the procurement management plan. This plan guides every procurement activity throughout the project. To effectively plan our procurement, we need a variety of information. Think of it like preparing for a major purchase. We need our overall project management plan for context, our detailed requirements documentation so we know exactly what we need, our risk register to anticipate potential issues with external suppliers, and information about our activity resource requirements and project schedule to understand when and with what resources we'll need these external items. We also need to consider our stakeholders, the broader enterprise environmental factors like market conditions, and importantly, our organization's process assets, the established policies and past experience with procurements. Now, how do we process all this information? We use a few tools. Make or buy analysis helps us decide if we should make something ourselves or buy it from a supplier. Expert judgment, drawing on the knowledge of experienced individuals, is invaluable. Market research helps us understand what's available in the market and who the potential suppliers are. And of course, meetings are essential for discussions, clarifications, and decision making among the project team and potentially with early inputs from potential sellers. After all that planning, what do we produce? Our main output is the procurement management plan, our strategy document. We also create the procurement statement of work, which is a detailed description of what we need from the supplier. Then we develop procurement documents like RFPs or bids and source selection criteria to evaluate sellers. We also formally document our make or buy decisions and any change requests that arise from this planning, along with updates to other project documents. Once we've planned our procurements, we move to conduct procurements. This is the active part where we put our plan into action. We send out our procurement documents to potential sellers, receive their bids or proposals, evaluate them based on our predefined criteria, and ideally enter into negotiations. The ultimate goal here is to select the best seller and award a contract. This agreement is what formally binds both parties and ensures everyone's expectations are aligned. To conduct procurement effectively, we use a mix of tools. Bidder conferences are useful for clarifying the requirements for all potential sellers at once. Proposal evaluation techniques help us assess the bids systematically, often using independent estimates as a benchmark. Expert judgment is crucial throughout the evaluation and negotiation process. Advertising can help us reach a wider pool of sellers, and analytical techniques assist in comparing different proposals. Finally, procurement negotiations are key to finalizing the terms of the contract. The direct results of conducting procurements are the selected sellers, the formal agreements or contracts we sign with them, and updated resource calendars reflecting their involvement. Like any other project process, this can also lead to change requests if our initial plans need adjustment and updates to our project management plan and the other project documents. After the contract is awarded, our job isn't done. We need to actively control procurements. This means we continuously monitor the seller's performance against the contract. Are they delivering what they promised on time, within budget, and to the required quality? We also manage the relationship, ensuring good communication and addressing any issues that may arise. Importantly, if changes are needed, we follow a formal process to make and approve those contract modifications. To control procurements, we have several tools at our disposal. A contract change control system ensures any changes are properly managed. Procurement performance reviews helps us regularly assess the seller's progress. Inspections and audits verify quality and compliance. Performance reporting keeps everyone informed. Payment systems ensure timely and accurate compensation. Claims administration handles disputes, and a records management system ensures we have a clear audit trail of everything. As we control procurements, we generate work performance information about the seller's progress and compliance. This might lead to change requests if adjustments are needed, which then go through the integrated change control process. Naturally, this can also result in updates to our project management plan and various project documents, as well as improvements to our organizational process assets, like updating seller performance records. Finally, every procurement needs to be formally closed. This means ensuring all contractual obligations are met, any outstanding claims are resolved, and all procurement documentation is properly archived. This closing process is vital not just for administrative completeness, but also for capturing valuable lessons learned that can improve future procurements. It also links closely with our overall close project or phase process. To ensure procurements are closed correctly, we use procurement audits to review the entire process. Procurement negotiations might be needed to settle any final issues. And crucially, the records management system ensures all documentation is properly stored and accessible for future reference, completing the procurement lifecycle. The main outputs are the officially closed procurements, indicating the contract is concluded. Importantly, we also update our organizational process assets, the lessons learned from this procurement, which is invaluable for future projects. So why do we dedicate so much attention to procurement? It allows us to access specialized skills or resources that we don't have internally. Competitive bidding can often lead to cost savings. We can transfer certain risks to external sellers through contracts. It allows our core project team to focus on what they do best rather than getting bogged down in tasks that are not their specialty. Understanding contract types is key to procurement. We have fixed price contracts where the price is generally set, the seller takes on more risk. Then there are cost reimbursable contracts where the buyer agrees to pay for the actual cost incurred, plus a fee which is often used when the scope is uncertain. Time and material contracts offer a hybrid approach, which is useful for services or when the scope isn't fully defined upfront. Let's look closer at fixed price contracts. In a firm fixed in a firm fixed price or FFP contract, the price is agreed upon at the start and doesn't change unless the scope changes. This is great for the buyer as it offers cost certainty. Fixed price incentive fee or FPIF adds some flexibility with financial incentives tied to performance. And fixed price with economic price adjustment or FPAPA is used for long-term contracts to account for inflation or other economic changes. Cost reimbursable contracts are different. Here, the buyer agrees to pay for the seller's actual allowable cost plus a fee. Cost plus fixed fee or CPFF means the fee is fixed. Cost plus incentive fee or CPIF links the fee to performance targets. Cost plus award fee or CPAF gives the seller an award fee based on the buyer's subjective assessment of their performance. These are often used when the scope is not very clear at the beginning. Time and material contracts are like a middle ground. They combine elements of both fixed price and cost reimbursable contracts. They are often used when the exact amount of work or the scope isn't fully known upfront, like when you need to hire expert consultants or temporary staff. To manage costs, buyers often set to a not to exceed limit. A critical document in procurement is the Statement of Work or SOW. This clearly defines exactly what the buyer needs from the seller. It is not just a wish list, it details specifications, quantity requirements, performance expectations, delivery timelines, and more. A well-written SOW is vital for getting accurate proposals and preventing misunderstandings later on. So how do we choose the best seller? We use source selection criteria. These are the factors we'll use to evaluate all the proposals we receive. They can be very objective, like the lowest price, or more subjective, like the seller's technical expertise. Their proposed management approach, their past performance, or even their financial stability. Having clear criteria ensures a fair and objective selection process. To wrap up our discussion on project procurement management, remember that it is a critical and crucial function for assessing expertise, managing cost, and transferring risk. Effective planning Careful seller selection, diligent contract management, and proper closure are all vital steps to ensure your project gets what it needs from external sources and that these relationships are managed professionally and legally. It's all about getting the right support at the right time under the right terms to help your project succeed.